You can see Mustakus one, Mackenzie Lemon, he was always in my team, but then fitting him in to play as a fullback on support duty helped him stay slightly more defensive, and because we're playing cautious and we're not attacking too much, it allows Mackenzie Lemon to actually defend quite well. And you can see that we kept the most clean sheets in the division. My goalkeeper in Reese Beveridge, he had 15 clean sheets in the league. That's the most. And then the second person was Sten Housemere, they had only 11. If you're managing an underdog side or a mid-table team on Football Manager 2024 and you're struggling to compete with the other teams in your league, I have a unique solution for you. I sent out a tweet earlier telling you guys about how I was able to hack Football Manager 2024 and to get promotion with East 5 in the Scottish League 2. I did all this without an OP tactic or a preset tactic in Football Manager, just basic instructions and player interactions that actually helped us get good results. Currently we're here in the new season and this is the league table so far. We are currently in the Scottish League 1. We've gotten promotion from League 2. And if we just take a sneak peek at League 2, we can see the previous season, this is the current season, so we go back to the previous season, we can see we actually got promotion by finishing in 4th, and at some point in the season, we're as far down as 8th place. So if you're trapped in the top league with a weak team, or you're conceding goals a lot in Football Manager 2024, you're struggling to get a number of wins, or you just have unhappy players that are struggling to fit into your tactic, therefore you're struggling to win a lot of games, you're struggling to even score goals. I'm going to show you what worked out for me in Football Manager 2024. Now, before we get into detail of how we fixed everything, we're going to take a look at Jevan Beattie here. He's our top goal scorer and our secret weapon. He helped us overachieve in the league with a 7.08 rating. I'm going to share with you in secret towards the end of the video how we're able to actually land Jevan Beattie, and you can see that he's a star potential for our team based on our league that we're in, the Scottish League 2. I've gone back in time real quick to look at the division as to where we were at the time. You can see that we got knocked out of everything else, and if you look at the schedule I was stated, starting from the very beginning, we were doing quite well in the Scottish League. You can see we had a number of good victories and some draws, and it got to a point where we lost against a team like Sten Housemere. Now at the time I didn't know that they were promoted from the upper division into our, they were relegated from the upper division into our division, so I kind of took them like just a one-off game, and then they actually battered us. And in the next few games we didn't go on to win, and then after the 1-1 draw and then winning on penalties in the SPFL Trust Trophy, everything just went downhill from there. Went on losing game consistently. We had the odd win here and there, but we kept on losing heavily, and then the backbone, the straw that broke the camel's back, was a 5-1 defeat against Clyde. Now while all this was happening, this is the tactic that I started with. I had a box-to-box midfielder and a Metala on support DT, and of course Jevan Beattie playing as the advanced forward on attack. Once in a while he did get injured, but what I noticed about this tactic is that as good as it was for the team at the start, it wasn't very helpful for us defensively, and it didn't allow most of my players to play in roles that were very suitable for them. At some point I had my fullback playing as a fullback on defend duty, but that didn't really help us at the time. Much later, it did play a factor as to how we actually got promoted, but this system right here didn't really allow my players play in the way that they want to, or play in the roles and positions that they really wanted to play. And it didn't also allow me to use my other striker, my alternative striker in Nathan Austin. Now you can see Nathan Austin, he's actually a target forward, not an advanced forward, so there was a lot of problems as to how I can go about playing my players where they wanted to be, and that caused a lot of unrest in the squad, and then the squad dynamics went completely downhill. Everyone was unhappy, right from the top players, Brian Brogan Walls and Nathan Austin. They were all unhappy, and then that kind of filtered into the squad, and then everybody else just kept on having sad faces. When you're in that state, it's really difficult to win games. So the first thing that I did was to go into my dynamics, get into the squad hierarchy, and then speak to all the team leaders and all the highly influential players. I'm going to use Newton here for example. Just go into him, go on to discuss, praise his conduct first of all, and then you're going to get a slightly positive reaction from him if it's that he's doing quite well. Currently everybody's happy, so I think I fixed everything, but that's how I started, just going into the highly influential players and then the team leaders. I didn't really go down to the other players because I felt like if they are happy, it won't really mean much if the team leaders are unhappy. So I started by making sure all my team leaders were happy, went into the promises column to check any outstanding promises that I might have given to my players and then broken, and found a way to try and rectify those promises. And most importantly, I'm going to filter this by morale, just to find somebody that could be unhappy in my squad. Okay, an extremely unhappy player in Cody McKinstry. Now this player is a powerful player for me in the future, but he doesn't want to stay at the club, so I took the big risk of selling players like this off my team. It didn't really matter if they were the best team it didn't really matter if they were the best player in the game, if they were the best player in my team. For me, I got rid of them. If they wanted to go somewhere, I would just let them go, and then I started by just offloading all those players that were unhappy and there's no way you could actually turn their sad face upside down. I sold them, got rid of them completely. If you can't sell them, try to release them from their contract. Just go release on a free transfer. And then yeah, it cost me 45 points to actually release McKinstry right now, but I think it's better for him to just run down his contract. But doing this sort of helped the dynamics a whole lot. It kind of brought the club atmosphere back from abysmal towards the middle, where it's like almost getting to good, not yet very good, but eventually we got there to very good by doing this consistently week in, week out. And then you can go into training as well, praise all the players that did well, and then also encourage or criticize all the players that didn't do very well. You notice that in training schedules for lower league teams like this, you won't really see much that you can do. Everything is unavailable. So once in a while, I would go into their schedule and include community outreach. And I usually do this in the early parts, let's say a Tuesday or a Monday, knowing that the last game is probably on a Saturday, so I'm going to do it towards the Monday period, so they will have time closer to the games to actually prepare for it. As the season progressed, I altered my tactic to a 4-1-4-1 system that kind of helped us stay slightly defensive, and you can see that it included a central midfielder on attack. This is because most of my players that are playing in central midfielders are actually central midfielders on attack and not box-to-box midfielders, so it took me actually sacrificing a bit of defensive prowess by going for a central midfielder on attack, but that also meant that my defensive midfielder is no longer going to play on the support duty, is going to be stuck on defend duty, and then that also means including another defensive player in my fullback on defend duty, so he can accommodate the central midfielder on attack duty that's going to be getting ahead a whole lot. My two wingers were now playing on support duty because they need to help out defensively, and then I opted for a balanced mentality. Now this balanced mentality was how we started the game, but in game we did do a lot of switching. When you notice that the team is playing quite well against you, you go to a cautious mentality. We're the best team in the land, so it was obvious that we needed to be very careful in our defense. So playing cautious most of the time actually helped us stay in good shape. Sometimes I did go on to defensive, like when I went on to play Stenhousemuir again, I actually used a defensive tactic to win this game 3-1. So we were playing defensive mentality throughout the game. It didn't really matter if they were going to score. So you notice how your team plays when you're playing defensive. It may not really look like it. Your team is going to be more inclined to actually defend their own goal than try to score a goal, but they would still get, if they still have possession of the ball, they will still play and try to get forward, but they'll be very wary about how they're going to try and, like when they lose possession, they're going to be more eager to drop back into their shape and defend. So I noticed that kind of worked out for us in the mentalities column. Now when it came to game by game management, if I was able to switch my tactic to play different teams or something like that, I didn't really do that in this time because I was trying to experiment something to see how morale actually played a role in how successful you can be playing Football Manager. So when it came to the data hub, I didn't really touch this part on the opposition instructions. When you're having the next team that's going to come up, the match report for the next opposition that you're going to play against, I didn't really pay attention to that part anymore. I just kept on sticking to the system that we have, the system that works, and then if I was playing against a team that was playing well during the match, I would opt for a cautious mentality or a defensive mentality. But if I noticed that I was actually playing so well when I started with the balanced mentality and we're creating a lot of chances, I would go on to play positive and try to hit the opposition and score a goal. This worked out for us consistently. You notice that after beating Clyde, we did lose to Clyde at some point. We lost to them 5-1, and then immediately after that, after we sorted out everything and tried to get our feet up, we did go on to win against Clyde by 3-0, and then we lost to Annan Athletic, which is the team that I didn't really think we were going to lose to. And then we lost to them, and at some point I felt like, okay, maybe everything's going to, whether the wheels are going to come off now. But immediately after losing to them 2-1, we went on to beat Bonneric Rose by 6-2. Now peak where Bonneric Rose actually finished in the league. They finished in second place, and you notice that they had 58 points. We had 56, and then the team that actually won the league, which is Clyde, we did go on to beat them. They had 58 points. We could have won the league. We just missed out on the final day. You can see the game against Elgin City. If we had gone on to win this game in the Scottish League, we could have actually won the league if results went our way in other matches. But it didn't really matter. I was confident that we were actually going to get promoted via the playoffs, and then using the same system, playing in a more cautious manner if the team was too good, we ended up winning 3-0 against Aloha. And then in the second leg, we actually went on to draw against them 1-1. That's because we played defensive throughout in that game. We didn't really bother because I had a 3-goal lead. There was no need to attack the opposition. I just went on defensive, and then we played 1-1. In the final, we did the same thing, and then we went on to win the game 3-0 in the second leg of the final. Now, the secret as to how I got Jevan Beatty to actually join my team, if you can go into the competitions tab here, you can see the team stats. Looking at this from the previous season was actually how I went on to fight Jevan Beatty. You can look at the team stats right now, not a lot of goals, but scroll all the way down to the player overview. And then you're going to see the players that had the most assists and the most goals from the division that year. Now in this current year, I don't think I need to sign anybody because I do have players where I need them to be, but at the time of finishing the previous season before I started this new one, I was lacking players. So I came into the squad, the player statistics, to look at who the best performers are, who didn't get promoted from the division. So I went on to scout those players, and that's how I went on to find Jevan Beatty. He was the best, he was the top goal scorer in the league, and then one of the other players from his team, I need to find that player in my squad right now, the left midfielder in, where is he? Yasin El Elmani, Yasin Ben Elmani. He was also a teammate of Javan Beatty in the Elgin City team. So I went on to sign these two players. They were the top assist. He was the top assister, and then Javan Beatty was the top goal scorer in the division. So I went on to sign those two players from their previous team because they didn't get promoted and they were probably in the mood to leave. I went on to sign them for good money. I think Javan Beatty was for free. Then Ben Arami was like 7,000, or was it the other way around? Anyway, I went on to sign them. So you can look at these positions and then look at the player statistics, see who the top performers are. Go on to sign players from those teams if you can. If they're on a free transfer, try to get them in. It means that they actually have the capacity to play well in that division. And then you can see most tackles one, Mackenzie Lemon. He was always in my team, but then fitting him in to play as a fullback on support duty helped him stay slightly more defensive. And because we're playing cautious and we're not attacking too much, it allows Mackenzie Lemon to actually defend quite well. And you can see that we kept the most clean sheets in the division. My goalkeeper in Reese Beveridge, he had 15 clean sheets in the league. That's the most. And then the second person was Stenhousemeyer. They had only 11. So this system actually helped us win a lot of games and concede less goals in the process, all the while playing in the system that my players are going to enjoy playing and also keeping the squad harmony to allow us play well the way we're supposed to play. Now, when you're worrying about trying to get promoted, you won't really focus too much on the cups, because I noticed that in cup games, most of the other teams that we're playing against, because we're in Skybet or we're in the Cinch League, League 2, most of the other teams are better than us. So we didn't really bother too much when we got knocked out from cups. We just tried to do our best in stay in the league and get promoted as quickly as possible. So that kind of helped us do well in the league. And you can see a sneak peek of how the division actually went. At this point, we're going all the way down. We're first for most of the start of the season, and then everything just started to go haywire when most of my players are unhappy and my tactics stopped working. My tactic was too complicated, to be honest. I just had to force myself to try and change into a more simple tactic. And then when we're all the way down in 8th, I was where things started to kind of go seriously awry, and then at that point we changed our tactics, started getting to 7th place and 5th place and 4th place, and then we went all the way up to 2nd at some point. We did have a small blip, but it didn't really matter because everything was going well in the squad, and then we're doing quite well. And at that point we ended up finishing in 4th place. That was enough to take us to the playoffs, but we're quite close to the top, as you can see, and it was enough to take us to the playoffs. And then we actually went on to win against Elgin City, Javan Beatty's former club, and we got promoted that way. So looking at the tactic that we went on to use, you can see that most of my players don't have that much instructions. Brash, this pass is shorter instruction was because he was quite wasteful. It's not even supposed to be there, to be honest. You can actually go on and take it off. Central midfielder on attack duty, Metala on support duty, and then another winger on support. No instructions. Advance forward because that is what Javan Beatty prefers to play. I tried him on a deep line forward on attack duty. He wasn't really having it. He was always complaining and saying, I didn't really like the role that you're giving me, and then I went on to change it to advanced forward, and then it just stuck that way. No instructions attached to him. Defensive midfielder on defend duty, and then 2 standard central defenders. Erwin here can actually play as a ball playing defender. If you look at his statistics, he can actually play as a ball playing defender or even as a fullback on support duty. He's my current captain at 22 years of age. Good leadership, good vision, good passing. He's actually a region from my youth development center, so that's a good one. I actually went on to keep him in here as a central defender on defend duty. Sometimes I would play him as a ball playing defender, but often he played as a standard central defender in case somebody else was going to fill in that role. Fullback, one of them was on the left hand side, Mackenzie Lemon. This is currently Newton. This should be Mackenzie Lemon that's playing in this role because Newton played as the central midfielder on attack duty and Brogan Walls played as the Metala on support duty. So let's just get Newton in there. Yeah, currently this is the shape that we use. Mackenzie Lemon plays as the fullback on support duty, and then of course Jeans and Ewan himself played as the fullback on defend duty. My goalkeeper was Beveridge, as you remember, but currently Rolo is in there now as the season is over. He played as a standard goalkeeper on defend. Now out of possession, we weren't too complicated as well. We did try to press often, but because we were on cautious mentality, the pressing didn't really push high that much. Kind of kept our shape as much as we were trying to win the ball when the opposition was within our territory. We did trap the opposition outside and also tried to get in tackles as quickly as we can. I didn't want my goalkeeper hoofing the ball forward, so I asked him to distribute it to the centre backs, and then also the team was playing on a counter attack because we were playing cautious and defensive often. Now we did pass it shorter. That's because I noticed that it helped us retain possession, but often we did somehow push it high up to play with a standard passing if we noticed that we're too deep and we couldn't really get out. But often it used to stay as shorter passing with slightly higher tempo. We did pass the ball into space because that helped our counter attacks, and then working the ball into the box was an instruction I noticed that I used to take off very often because if it wasn't working for us, we could actually just disable it, but it was there by default because I wanted it to allow us try to retain possession and not kick the ball away, kick it over. So running a defense, yes, that did help our counter attacks. I think I've spoken a lot about the mentality, but you're just going to take a sneak peek at it anyway. So that was how we were able to actually hack Football Manager 2024 and get promoted to Skybet. Okay, I keep calling it Skybet and I don't know why. Singe League 1. So that's where we are now. We actually won the playoffs, as you can see, and we're in our new season. So if you have any more questions about Football Manager 2024 or how you can succeed with mid-table teams and underdog teams in this game, you can let me know in the comment section. I'll try to answer your questions as I can, because I just did that right now with East 5. And we're going to see how well we do in the Singe League 1. Now you may be wondering if I'm going to attach this tactic in the description so you can download it. I don't really know if it's going to work for you because it's built for my team in East 5. So you could recreate the tactic based on the video, and it's nothing too complicated. I think I've gone through it, so you can actually just try to recreate the tactic. It's nothing complicated at all, really. So we're going to see how well we do in the next division, and if this system actually carries on and actually keeps on working for us, we could just go on playing Football Manager that way. It's going to be enjoyable, to be honest. Thanks for watching this video, and I do enjoy that you guys support the channel a whole lot. We're nearly at 2,500 subscribers. I really appreciate all the support that you guys give. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.